Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am VC Pramod and with me is Vaibhav Jyotsna Srivastav with the evening news. The headlines. Cabinet Secretary holds meeting with municipal commissioners and district magistrates to review COVID-19 situation in 13 worst affected cities. Government says around 30 groups in the country trying to develop vaccines to fight novel coronavirus. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 42.75%, 3,266 people cured in the last 24 hours. Finance Minister launches free instant e-PAN card facility through Aadhaar. Women peacekeepers from India and Brazil jointly win United Nations Military Gender Advocate Award. And southwest monsoon likely to make onset over Kerala from the 1st of June. Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba today held a meeting with municipal commissioners, district magistrates of 13 COVID-hit cities to take a review of the situation. The meeting bears significance as these 13 cities are considered to be the worst novel coronavirus-affected locations and constitute about 70% of the positive cases in the country. The cities are Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, Ahmedabad, Thane, Pune, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Indore, Jaipur, Jodhpur, Chengalpattu and Tiruvallur. The chief secretaries of all concerned states and union territories attended the meeting. A report.
The measures taken by the officials and the staff of the municipal corporations for the management of COVID-19 cases were reviewed during the meeting. The central government has already issued guidelines on management of COVID-19 in urban settlements. Highlights of this strategy include work on high-risk factors, indices such as confirmation rate, fatality rate, doubling rate, and tests per million people. Centre has stressed that containment zones are to be geographically defined based on factors like mapping of cases and contacts and their geographical dispersion. This would enable in demarcating a well-defined perimeter and enforcing the strict protocol of lockdown. The cities are advised that the area should be appropriately defined by the district administration and local urban body with technical inputs from local level. With Divakar, Suparna Saikia, AIR News, Delhi.
Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, Dr. K. Vijayaraghavan has said around 30 groups in the country from big industry to individual academics are trying to develop vaccines to fight COVID-19. Dr. Vijayaraghavan was briefing media in New Delhi.
So there are about a total of 30 groups in India, big industry to individual academics, who are trying to develop vaccines, of which about 20-ish are keeping a good pace. Yet, this is a very competitive area.
Dr. Vijayaraghavan said the efforts to develop the vaccine are being made in 3 ways: indigenously, in collaboration with other companies, and by working with the leading companies. He said Indian institutions are engaged in developing 4 types of vaccines for this virus. He said discovery of a new vaccine is very challenging. He added that AICTE and CSIR have embarked on a drug discovery hackathon, which is a high-end hackathon where students are trained with information on how to do computational drug discovery. He also said 5 important things need to be kept in mind for the prevention of COVID-19 before the vaccine arrives.
COVID-19, उसके खिलाफ हमारे पास 5 तरह के कार्य करनी चाहिए जीतने के लिए. एक तो हमारी हाइजीन ठीक होनी चाहिए, यानी मास्क पहननी चाहिए, हाथ साफ करनी चाहिए. दूसरी, सरफेसेस को साफ करनी चाहिए. तीसरी, फिजिकल डिस्टेंसिंग मीट करनी चाहिए. ये तीनों आसान लगते हैं, लेकिन जैसे लॉकडाउन निकलती है वो करना मुश्किल है और उसके लिए साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी से तरह तरह के सोल्यूशंस निकालनी चाहिए. चौथे और पांचवें, ट्रैकिंग और टेस्टिंग. ये 5 हमारे हाथ में, हमारे सोसाइटी के हाथ में अभी भी हैं जब हम वेट करते हैं वैक्सीन और ड्रग्स के.
In reply to a question, Dr. K. Vijayaraghavan said no change in the fundamental properties of the novel coronavirus has been witnessed till now. Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul said that the fight against novel coronavirus will be won through vaccine and drugs. He said the country's science and technology institutions and pharma industry are very strong. He said about 20 companies are providing diagnostic kits to the countries.
The recovery rate of people affected with COVID-19 has improved further. and it has now reached 42.75%. The Health Ministry in a statement said that so far a total of 67,691 people have been cured, and in the last 24 hours, 3,266 people have recovered from the infection. It said the number of cases under active medical supervision is 86,110. Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri said there were a total of 367 domestic flight departures today. In a tweet, the minister said over 30,000 passengers were handled. There were a total of 310 arrivals which handled 25,530 passengers. He added that the total number of flyers were 30,136. The Vande Bharat mission is in full swing and phase 2 of the mission is underway till the 13th of June. Briefing media this evening, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Anurag Shrivastava said a total of 45,216 Indians have returned till this evening. These include 8,069 migrant workers, 7,656 students and 5,107 professionals. About 5,000 Indians have returned through land border immigration checkpoints from Nepal and Bangladesh. A total number of 3,08,200 people have registered their request with missions abroad for repatriation to India on compelling grounds. During Phase 2, a total of 429 Air India flights from 60 countries are scheduled to land in India. The Indian Navy will be making 4 more sorties to bring back returnees from Iran, Sri Lanka and the Maldives. The spokesperson said government is also assisting return of stranded Indians from remote locations in Latin America and the Caribbean, Africa and parts of Europe. This is being done by taking advantage of foreign carriers flying to India primarily for evacuation of their nationals. Recently, about 300 stranded Indians from Peru, Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, Portugal and the Netherlands were brought in. Mr. Shrivastava said more such options will be explored. The spokesperson also said private airlines have now been included as part of Phase 2 of Vande Bharat mission. Chartered flights have also begun to operate and return of Indian nationals through land borders has commenced.
Under Vande Bharat mission, 170 stranded passengers from Bangladesh and 151 from Kuwait reached Gaya in Bihar today. These passengers were stranded due to lockdown. All passengers belong to different parts of Bihar. Kerala reported 84 new cases of COVID-19 and a corona death today. The deceased is a Telangana native who had reached Thiruvananthapuram by mistake as the person chose a wrong train from Rajasthan. Out of the newly confirmed cases except 5, all the 79 people are returnees either from abroad or other states. The total active cases rise to 526. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan said that so far Kerala has reported very less contact spread cases. He said there is no situation of panic as through the continuous alert, the fear of community spread can be overcome. Meanwhile, under Vande Bharat mission, flights carrying expatriates arrived in Kerala today from Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Muscat.
The discharge ratio of COVID-19 affected people in Tamil Nadu has improved to nearly 55%. 637 infected people today went back home after recovering. However, the number of COVID-19 affected people has crossed 19,000 in the state, with the figure reaching nearly 13,000 in Chennai alone. The total deaths due to COVID-19 has gone up to 145 in the state, with 12 people succumbing to the disease today. More from our correspondent.
A positive aspect in the clinical side of the COVID-19 pandemic is that the trial of the convalescent plasma therapy tested in 7 patients in Chennai has proved very effective, as said by the State Health Minister Dr. Vijay Bhaskar. The therapy involves using the blood plasma drawn from the discharged people in the patients who are currently under treatment. He told reporters in Chennai today the Solidarity trial for COVID-19 treatment with the broad-spectrum antiviral medicine Remdesivir has also given promising results. He reiterated that the increased number of COVID-19 positive cases every day in the state is a reflection of the increased number of tests. Jai Singh, AR News, Chennai.
Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari today announced a slew of measures to cut expenses of Raj Bhavan to make resources available for COVID-19 relief measures. Some of the measures include deferring car purchase, no new capital works to be undertaken, no new regular recruitment in Raj Bhavan, and the practice of offering gifts and mementos to VVIPs will be discontinued until further orders. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
The series of measures announced by Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari is estimated to save nearly 10 to 15% of the budget of the Raj Bhavan in the current financial year. The governor has already contributed his 1 month's salary and further pledged 30% of the salary for 1 year to the PM Cares Fund for COVID-19. In another development, NCP Chief Sharad Pawar has written to Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressing concerns over the complete breakdown in the real estate sector due to several restrictions and ongoing lockdown coronavirus pandemic. In his letter to the PM, Pawar has stated that the real estate sector is suffering heavily due to massive outflux of labourers and halted work and sale for almost 3 months. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
BJP has said that the whole country is united in the fight against novel coronavirus and its party workers are in the service of the people in this time of crisis. Briefing a digital press conference in New Delhi today, Party General Secretary Bhupendra Yadav said BJP workers undertook the Feed the Needy campaign all over the country. He said under the campaign, party workers provided cooked food to over 19 crore needy people and dry ration to over 4 crore people. Mr. Yadav said the BJP will hold virtual rallies in all districts across the country as it readies to celebrate the first anniversary of the Narendra Modi government's second term. He said Party National President JP Nadda will address party workers on the occasion through Facebook Live. Mr. Yadav said parties all 7 wings will also hold 500 digital rallies in their respective fields. He added that BJP will reach out to people with a letter written by Prime Minister Narendra Modi talking about self-reliant India, achievements of the government, and will distribute them in 10 crore families. He said it will be a month-long campaign from June.
In our series Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you the views of the leading medical experts on COVID-19. Talking to AIR News, President of the Public Health Foundation of India, Dr. K. Srinath Reddy, stressed the need to maintain social distancing to check the spread of COVID-19 in the country.
Social distancing is a very effective measure for preventing the transmission of the virus from an infected person to a non-infected person. So we must maintain a distance of at least 2 meters between ourselves and another person so that we can prevent this virus from traveling between 2 people. We must also ensure that this happens both outside in the market but also in offices where we have to work together with other people.
Director AIIMS, Dr. Randeep Guleria, advised the people to aggressively follow social distancing and hand hygiene norms to check the spread of COVID-19 infection.
Currently, we have to be aggressive in social distancing, hand washing and quarantine, and this is more and more important in the hotspots. I would advise everyone, especially those who are in the hotspots, to really sincerely, as citizens in a patriotic manner, observe this lockdown, because if we observe this lockdown in a sincere manner, we will be able to break the chain of spread and we will be able to bring down cases and be able to prevent deaths and conquer corona in India.
The National Human Rights Commission NHRC today issued notices to governments of Gujarat and Bihar and Chairman of Railway Board as well as Union Home Secretary on reports that the trains which are ferrying the migrant labourers are not only starting late but are taking many additional days to reach destination. The Commission said it is alleged that many migrant labourers lost life during their journey by train due to longer duration and no arrangements for drinking water and food. Taking suo motu cognizance of media reports, the Commission asked them to submit a detailed report in the matter within 4 weeks. In an effort to guard against fake news being circulated on various platforms, we bring you our segment on fact-checking and mythbusters. Government has denied the claim made in a video of a woman lying on the ground in the context of migrant situation during COVID-19. In a tweet, Press Information Bureau termed it as incorrect. It said this is an old video and it is being shared out of context. The PIB asked people to be beware of such false claims.
A senior railway official has said that migrants are being sent back on a very large scale to their native places by the railways. Participating in the All India Radio program Samvad, he talked about the measures taken by the railways at various railway stations to contain the spread of COVID-19. He said migrant passengers are asked to follow the social distancing norms.
ट्रेनों में भी हमने सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग की पूरी व्यवस्था की कोशिश की है। प्लेटफॉर्म में हमने कोई भी भीड़ भाड़ ना हो, इसलिए कोई भी वेट लिस्टेड लोगों को हमने अलाउ नहीं किया है। कोई भी लोग छोड़ने एक दूसरे को ना जाएं। अगर जाते हैं तो बाहर सर्कुलेटिंग एरिया से ही वापस आ जाएं। ट्रेनों में हमने जो जनरल कोच हैं, जहां सबसे ज्यादा सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग वायलेट हो सकता है, उस जगह हमने रिजर्व कोचेज में कन्वर्ट किया उसको, और कोई भी अनरिजर्व टिकट हम बुक करने नहीं दे जा रहे हैं, जिससे कि लोग लिमिटेड मात्रा में ही जिनके कंफर्म या आरईसी टिकट्स हैं वही स्टेशन की तरफ आएं। बाकी अनरिजर्व टिकट के लालच में कि कोई अनरिजर्व टिकट लेके किसी ट्रेन में बोर्ड करेंगे, ऐसा ना करें।
The official suggested that those who want to travel in the coming days should avoid heavy luggage.
जो लोग ट्रेवल कर रहे हैं वो हल्का सामान लेके चलें, कम से कम सामान लेके चलें। वैसे रेलवे में ट्रेवल करने के लिए हर श्रेणी के हिसाब से कितने किलोग्राम सामान आप ले जाते हैं, इसकी एक निर्धारित सीमा तय है। उतना तो हम परमिट करते ही हैं, लेकिन अगर हो सके तो आप उससे कम से कम सामान लेके चलें, जिससे आपको कुली की जरूरत ना पड़े, बहुत ज्यादा लोगों के कॉन्टैक्ट में आना पड़े, और सामान को अच्छे से रख सकें।
The News Services Division of All India Radio, in its bilingual live phone-in program tonight, will bring you a special discussion program on COVID-19. This can be heard tonight on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Cabinet Secretary holds meeting with municipal commissioners and district magistrates to review COVID-19 situation in 13 worst affected cities. Government says around 30 groups in the country trying to develop vaccines to fight novel coronavirus. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 42.75%, 3,266 people cured in the last 24 hours. Finance Minister launches free instant e-PAN card facility through Aadhaar. Women peacekeepers from India and Brazil jointly win the United Nations Military Gender Advocate Award. And southwest monsoon likely to make onset over Kerala from the 1st of June. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman today formally launched the facility for instant allotment of PAN on near to real-time basis. This facility is now available for those PAN applicants who possess a valid Aadhaar number and have a mobile number registered with Aadhaar. The allotment process is paperless and an electronic PAN, e-PAN, is issued to the applicants free of cost. The beta version of the facility of Instant PAN through Aadhaar-based eKYC was started on the 12th of February on the e-filing website of Income Tax Department. Since then, over 6,77,000 instant PANs have been allotted with a turnaround time of about 10 minutes till the 25th of this month. A total of 50.52 crore PANs have been allotted to the taxpayers, out of which around 49.39 crore are allotted to the individuals and more than 32.17 crore are seeded with Aadhaar so far. The 22nd meeting of the Financial Stability and Development Council, FSDC, was held in New Delhi today through video conferencing. The meeting, chaired by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, reviewed the measures to maintain financial stability in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. The meeting reviewed the current global and domestic macroeconomic situation, financial stability and vulnerability issues, and major issues likely to be faced by banks and other financial institutions. Besides market volatility, domestic resource mobilization and capital flow issues were also discussed by the Council. The Council noted that the pandemic poses a serious threat to the stability of the global financial system, as the ultimate impact of the crisis and the timing of recovery is uncertain at this point of time. It felt there is a need to keep a continuous vigil by government and all regulators on the financial conditions that could expose financial vulnerabilities in the medium and long term. The country's largest lender, State Bank of India, has reduced interest rates on retail term deposits by up to 40 basis points (BPS) across all tenors. This is the second reduction in fixed deposit interest rates by the lender in May. It had reduced its deposit rates on May 12th.
Jammu and Kashmir Administrative Council JKAC under the chairmanship of LG GC Murmu gave a go-ahead today to the recruitment of 2,000 Panchayat Accounts Assistants. AIR correspondent reports that the decision will strengthen the functioning of Panchayati Raj institutions in the Union Territory. The recruitment of these posts will be restricted to the domiciles of J&K and shall be done in accordance to relevant recruitment rules. The selection will be made through Services Selection Recruitment Board on the basis of merit determined through a written test only and shall have no interviews in the recruitment process to these posts. In Himachal Pradesh, over 90% of pharmaceutical industries have resumed their production amid COVID-19 pandemic. The state government has also allowed free movement of workers for the industrial units from Chandigarh, Panchkula and Mohali with some restrictions. Our correspondent has filed a report.
Pharmaceutical manufacturing units at Baddi in Solan district are not only meeting the medical requirements of the country but also supplying hydroxychloroquine to countries like United States. The state government is also considering to create an infrastructure in the industrial area of Solan district so that necessary facilities can be provided to the workers during an emergency situation. In order to cater to the need of the drug industry, both nationally and internationally, the state government has urged the union government to establish a bulk drug park in the state. Chief Minister Jairam Thakur said the state has emerged as an important hub for manufacturing of bulk drugs and generics and captured a major portion of the market within the country and outside. Chief Minister said his government not only provided all possible help to the industry during the pandemic but also ensured smooth movement of the workers in the industrial area. Sanjeev Sundaryal, AIR News, Shimla.
Uttar Pradesh government will develop 800 kilometres of roads as herbal roads in the state. Our Lucknow correspondent reports that the herbal roads will have medicinal and herbal trees along with the land on their both sides.
Deputy Chief Minister and PWD Minister of State Keshav Prasad Maurya told AIR that these herbal roads will have trees like peepal, neem, sahjan, along with other herb varieties like Brahmi, Ashwagandha and Jatropha. He said that these plants will help us in providing raw material for the medicines and will also help in curbing the erosion of land. He said that this scheme will help both development and beautification and bring medicinal benefits along with promoting biodiversity. These 800-kilometer roads will be along national and state highways passing through state, and the herbal garden along with them will keep airborne bacterial and other diseases at bay. PWD department will also make arrangements rainwater recharging system on these herbal roads. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
To provide updated and latest statistics related to labour welfare, Labour and Employment Minister Santosh Kumar Gangwar has inaugurated the Twitter handle @LabourDG for Labour Bureau. Secretary Labour and Employment Hiralal Samaria and DG Labour Bureau DPS Negi were present on the occasion yesterday. The minister tweeted that the handle will be a regular and updated source of snapshot on Indian labour market indicators. Security forces today averted a major incident of a vehicle-borne IED blast in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. An improvised explosive device IED was recovered from a car in Ayangund area of Rajpura in South Kashmir's Pulwama district, which was defused by the personnel of the bomb disposal squad this morning. IG Police Vijay Kumar congratulated the security forces for the success. In a briefing, he said Pulwama Police received a credible information yesterday that a terrorist was moving with an explosive-laden car. He informed that car was carrying about 45 kilograms of ammonium nitrate explosives.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar concluded a review meeting of India-European Union relations with High Representative of EU for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Josep Borrell Fontelles. Dr. Jaishankar said in a tweet they discussed initiatives to promote post-corona economic recovery. The minister stressed on shared perspectives on technology, connectivity and security during the meeting. External Affairs Ministry has said India and China have established mechanisms both at military and diplomatic levels to resolve situations which may arise in border areas peacefully through dialogue. In a virtual briefing today, Ministry spokesperson Anurag Shrivastava said Indian troops have taken a very responsible approach on border management. He said they strictly follow the procedures laid out in various bilateral agreements and protocols with China to resolve any issue that may arise in the border areas. At the same time, Mr. Shrivastava said India remains firm in the resolve to ensuring India's sovereignty and national security. Replying to a question on Nepal map issue, the spokesperson said India attaches great importance to Nepal. In recent years, relations are on an upward trajectory and there is an evident expansion of cooperation. Even during challenging times, India continues to supply essential items to Nepal, including medicines. Mr. Srivastav said India continues to monitor the issue and the matter is receiving careful consideration in Nepal. He said India is open to engaging with all neighbours based on mutual trust. On cooperation with Pakistan on locusts issue, the spokesperson said there is an existing local channel of communication with the neighbouring country that is normally activated in June every year. He said, seeing the alarming situation, India had suggested activating the channel, but there has been no response from Pakistan yet. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar has said the centre is taking the issue of locust attack in different parts of the country seriously. In a tweet, he said all necessary steps are being taken with states to control the locust. The minister today reviewed the measures being adopted in this regard.
Delhi government has issued advisory in view of the probable locust attack in the national capital. These locusts are reportedly present in neighbouring states including Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. In the advisory, the city government has asked authorities concerned to spray insecticides and pesticides on standing crops, vegetation, plants, gardens and orchards to prevent a probable attack of locusts in Delhi. It said as the swarm of locusts flies in daytime and rests during the night, it should not be allowed to rest at night. It asked the authorities to carry out spraying of pesticides, chlorpyrifos and malathion as per the need during night. Women peacekeepers from India and Brazil jointly won the United Nations Military Gender Advocate of the Year 2019 award. Major Suman Gavani of the Indian Army, a military observer formerly deployed with the United Nations mission in South Sudan, UNMISS, and Commander Carla Monteiro de Castro Arrau, a Brazilian naval officer, have been chosen for the award. They will receive the award during an online ceremony tomorrow presided over by UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, marking the International Day of UN Peacekeepers. For the first time, two peacekeepers will receive the award jointly for their contribution to this important cause. Created in 2016, the United Nations Military Gender Advocate of the Year award recognizes the dedication and effort of an individual military peacekeeper in promoting the principles of UN Security Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security in a peace operation context. Major Gavani expressed gratification at seeing her work as UN military observer recognized. Since her deployment to UNMISS in December 2018, Major Gavani mentored over 230 UN military observers on conflict-related sexual violence and ensured the presence of women military observers in each of the mission team sites. The southwest monsoon has further advanced into some parts of Maldives' Comorin area, some more parts of South Bay of Bengal, remaining parts of Andaman Sea and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The Ministry of Earth Sciences said conditions are becoming favourable for further advance of southwest monsoon into some parts of Maldives' Comorin area during the next 48 hours. It said a low-pressure area is likely to form over southeast and adjoining east-central Arabian Sea from 31st of this month to 4th June. It said due to this, conditions are very likely to become favourable for onset of southwest monsoon over Kerala from 1st of June. The ministry also said a low-pressure area has formed over west-central Arabian Sea, which is very likely to concentrate into a depression over the same region during the next 48 hours. Fishermen are advised not to venture into west-central Arabian Sea from tomorrow till 1st of June.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will witness minimum temperature of 29 degrees Celsius and a maximum temperature of 39 degrees Celsius. The metro will also witness thunderstorm with squall tomorrow. Mumbai will witness partly cloudy skies. In the south, Chennai will see a partly cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between 30 and 39 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have a temperature between 24 and 33 degrees Celsius. On to the north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature will be 26 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum temperature will be around 40 degrees Celsius. In Srinagar, the minimum temperature will be 15 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 26 degrees Celsius. The city will observe partly cloudy sky with the possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. In Gilgit, the temperature will hover between 13 and 36 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, there will be partly cloudy skies with the possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm.
And now, before we end, the headlines once again. Cabinet Secretary holds meeting with municipal commissioners and district magistrates to review COVID-19 situation in 13 worst affected cities. Government says around 30 groups in the country trying to develop vaccines to fight novel coronavirus. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 42.75%, 3,266 people cured in the last 24 hours. Finance Minister launches free instant e-PAN card facility through Aadhaar. Women key speakers from India and Brazil jointly win United Nations Military Gender Advocate Award. And southwest monsoon likely to make onset over Kerala from the 1st of June. And with that, we end the evening news.